Welcome to the Tech Today podcast powered by CEO Rater. It's your host, John Mayetta. Check us out online at ceorater.com. Anonymously rate your company, rate your CEO. Visit us at TEK2day.com for the latest in technology-related news and content. Today, I wanted to share with you an article that we posted last week. And this is around the Biden administration $1.9 trillion stimulus, a breakdown of that bill, which is now law. I just wanted to go through some of it with you so you could get a sense as to the level of waste associated with these stimulus programs, whereby if you listen to the Tech Today podcast religiously, if you read Tech Today, you know that we're not fans of printing money and handing it out to whether it be citizens or businesses or government programs. And so just to kind of go through some of the items. Food supply chain and agriculture pandemic response, whatever that means, $4 billion. Supplemental nutrition assistance program, $1.2 billion. Subsidizing farmers, $1 billion. You may think, well, that's a good thing. No, it's not a good thing. If something can't stand on its own two legs, it doesn't deserve to be subsidized. Emergency grants for rural health care, $500 million. Elementary and secondary school emergency relief fund, $129 billion. Higher education emergency relief fund, $40 billion. Child care and development block grant program, $40 billion. And of course, there's no further breakdown as to how this capital will be allocated and how they arrived at these numbers. Excuse me. Low-income home energy assistance, $4.5 billion. Funding for COVID-19 testing, contact tracing, and mitigation activities. So basically data gathering efforts, $46 billion. Funding for public health care workforce, $7.7 billion. Funding for community health centers, $7.6 billion. Funding for E-rate support for emergency educational connection and devices. So I don't know if that means we're buying iPhones for everybody. $7.7 billion. Funding for COVID-19 vaccine activities at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, $7.5 billion. Funding for Indian health, $6 billion. Funding for vaccines, therapeutics, medical supplies, $5.2 billion. Again, is that just a massive payday for the pharma companies? What's behind these numbers? Of course, that detail is not provided. Then you get all sorts of block grants and such that are anywhere from a billion to $2 billion. You've got $1 billion going to vaccination, quote unquote, confidence building activities. Funding for behavioral health workforce education and training, $100 billion. You've got billions going to museums, to the arts, to all sorts of activities that are unrelated to COVID. Emergency rental assistance, $20 billion. Air transportation payroll, so the airlines again, $15 billion. Emergency housing vouchers, what that's associated with, I'm not sure, $5 billion. Coronavirus State Fiscal Recovery Fund, $220 billion. So God knows how the states will actually use that capital. Coronavirus Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, $130 billion. So there's more money for state and local government to do whatever they choose with them, I'm sure. Support for restaurants, $25 billion. God bless the restaurants, but how many zombie restaurants, i.e. restaurants that would not be functioning without the benefit of this capital, that would likely be put out of business by competitors anyway? How many are we supporting by printing money? Which is never a good use of capital, as it creates all sorts of moral hazard. Federal Emergency Management Agency appropriation, $50 billion. Federal Transit Administration grants, $30 billion. Relief for airports, $8 billion. Economic Adjustment Assistance, $3 billion. Payroll Support Program, $3 billion. Grants to the National Railroad Passenger Corporation, Amtrak, 1.7 billion. Funding for medical care and health needs, 13.5 billion. So we break it down into the categories as provided by the bill just before it became law. So we went through I believe it was 598 pages of the bill and pulled the figures out of the bill because the politicians certainly did not put together a table. It's not in their interest to make the bill easy to read, easy to digest. They want to obfuscate the truth, not shine a light on it. And so we did that for you. You can find that at TEK2day.com. That's all for now. See you next time.